Okay, so we got a deep dive 2015.
Yeah.
Talking about FME Server, which is automation.
That's right. It's safe we talk about connect, transform, and automate. The connect is all about formats and different systems. Transformation is what you do in Workbench when you authorize those things. That's what the engine does. And server is really about enabling automation through that in a number of different ways, and we're going to show a bunch today.
And first, off the top, well, we should say I'm Aaron Koenig.
Oh yeah, that's right, and I'm Don Murray, and we both spend a lot of our time at SAFE being passionate about FME Server and a bunch of different things. So, of course, XML is another one of my passions, and I'll do my best not to turn this into an XML webinar.
If you do, I'm going to turn it into a JSON webinar.
That's right.
But we got
a little baby brother.
It's not. We got the poll up here. We're asking you, what are you mostly interested in?
Yeah, so I have a number of choices there. You know, is it the web user interface of FME Server that's important to you? FME Engine, right? FME Engine at the end of the day is really what we sell at SAFE, whether it be desktop or server. It's all about how do we exploit the powers of that FME Engine.
Totally.
And automation, of course, is FME Server. What aspects of automation is important to you, and system maintenance and fault tolerance. Like any tool, we work every release to make FME Server easier to maintain, more robust, all those great things. So it's even more resilient than the previous release. And last but not least, real time. Is real time important to you? So. Yeah, so there we go. Wow, automation, 83%. So that's great because a lot of our webinar is all about new and different ways to automate different tasks.
But you know what the great thing is, Don? We're going to talk about all of these things.
We are.
That's good.
And real time. That's a good showing for real time too. So, yeah.
So we started saying FME Server is automation, and it is. There's actually kind of two parts of FME Server. There's more of a traditional self-serve on-demand where we grew out of, right?
That's right. I think you have, you're going to show a little bit example of that when you get into Playground. And so it's all about self-serve on-demand. People can go and help data for themselves, open data solutions. People can use FME Server to get the data out in whatever format they want, or however the publishers want it. And also to connect to these systems. And of course, automation. There's two types of automation which we're going to talk about, event-based and data flow automation.
And then the real-time streaming stuff. So we're going to go through all this kind of stuff today and show you what's new. But first off, we want to say, what is FME Cloud versus FME
there's
Server?
Always there's a bit of a confusion there at times, and it's getting less and less. And really, FME Cloud is FME Server. It's a new way of launching FME Server. So in the demos we do today, many are in FME Cloud. I think there's one or two that aren't in FME Cloud on-premise, just to show both. But really, FME Cloud is FME Server.
Absolutely. A lot of people use it for evaluation and for and then they go on premises.
Prototyping or whatever you want.
So we're going to start off talking about a new user interface, which we designed this thing so it would be more intuitive. So that it would run on multiple devices, shall we say, tablets. A lot of people have downtime, but you know the common thing that they always have
is their little mobile device.
They got their mobile phone,
or their Apple phone.
So why not make the thing run there? So let's start there. Let's jump in and look at the new web interface.
Okay.
And so here it is, and this is the new interface here. I'm going to log in. And I'm going to do something simple, but first I'm going to talk about what are these three things here, Don?
Yeah, those are the common things that people do when they log into FME Server. So in the past, you had to do a bunch of clicking to get there. So now the three things we think are the most common, based on talking to users, are right in your face. So if you want to run a workspace, you just click right there, run a workspace. You want to do a schedule, and you want to build a notification workflow.
Perfect.
You're good to go. So
and so I'm going to start off doing just something simple, run a workspace. Nothing we haven't done before. I'm going to go into samples, repository, pick a workspace there, and I'll do a data download service. Hit run. And that's going to run, and this one doesn't take too long, a few seconds. Returns back, and there's our result. So basically, just a run through of something that we've done in the past. Another thing I want to point out is it's responsive, this design. So if I go
back to home, you change the size of the screen.
If I drag it across.
Oh, look at that.
to
So that's
say,
like that's
boom.
from so that looks kind of like a tablet or
Yeah.
So and then you keep going smaller, and that's really what it would look like on a mobile phone.
Absolutely.
So it works on those devices, but it also is really nice on your desktop too, because if you want to give it less space, it just auto adjusts to that.
It adjusts to what you want it.
Absolutely.
It uses something called Twitter Bootstrap.
That's right.
Which is very common for responsive design.
That's right.
So now we've seen the new interface. And
yeah, it looks great.
You like it?
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
I like it very much. It's very intuitive and nice to use.
Yeah.
Everything you want to use.
And I remember the old days I would try to check things on my mobile phone, and it was really, that old interface was really, really tough.
It was almost impossible.
Almost. Pretty, yeah. You had to be determined for sure.
Absolutely. So I'm going to show a mobile demo here. Yeah. I'm going to start with File Geodatabase.
Yeah.
Why am I starting with File Geodatabase? Well, people in our survey, our users said it's important. We should support File Geodatabase. And well, why is it hard, Don?
Well, File Geodatabase is not actually a file. It's actually a directory of files.
Yes.
And so that makes it, in the past it was tough to get the whole File Geodatabases up to the there.
Up to FME Server.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you. It's easy now. And all I'm going to do here, imagine I've created a new community map.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come into resources here.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it up there so people can access it and work with it. So into data, into the latest product. See, there's nothing in there now. I'm going to upload File Geodatabase. Oops, click the wrong button. Click Upload, and I'm going to choose a folder, which a geodatabase is, and upload.
And look at that.
And it's going up there.
Just like that.
No problems.
Awesome.
Yeah. And a pretty quick one. And there's a little Mac reason that we have this icon shows up if you're using a Mac, but you can ignore it. So there it is. It's up there now.
Yep.
Now I'm going to go home. I'm done. So I'm done the webinar. Well, not the webinar, but so I'm on the train now, right?
Yep.
And I don't have this fancy interface anymore. And somebody says to me, "I want you to load that latest community map into CartoDB."
Okay. So you're going to load the File Geodatabase into CartoDB now.
Exactly. But I'm on the train, so how am I going to do it? Well, I've got. What do I have with me? What do I have with me, Don?
You have you have a phone and you have access to your FME server interface.
Yes, I do.
And so.
And I got LTE, and I'm on the train.
So you have a high-speed connection, so you're ready to go.
High speed. I'm just going to jump right on the server.
Perfect.
And here I am. So now I'm on. What am I on? I'm on my phone.
You're on your phone. This is an Android phone.
It's an Android phone.
And
I'm just going to log in and
perfect.
And go through this process.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very tough password, I can imagine.
What you might even be able to guess it.
That's right.
So in we go, and then we see. I've already gone to Jobs, but let me go back to the Home menu. I was using this previously. And from the Home menu, I can run a workspace. That's what I'm going to do. And in here, File Geodatabase to map. That's my repository. Inside there, I've got a workspace that will load File Geodatabase to CartoDB. Okay, and the first thing is, well, what File Geodatabase do you want to use? And I'm going to use the one from Resources, which I just uploaded. And I zoom in there because it's a nice responsive interface. I can do that with. And I'm going to select the community map. And I'm going to hit Run.
And it's that easy.
And from the train, I've started loading
File
Geodatabase.
Wow, and that's one of the things users have asked for. They really wanted to be able to, and check the status of a job from their mobile phone as well.
And and we're going to do that in a second.
Okay.
This is going to take a while. CartoDB
going
up.
So where's the bottleneck here? Is it just working with cloud stuff? You just don't know how long it's going to take, kind of thing.
It's the bandwidth. It's you're sending up files and you're asking a cloud service.
Sure, and we don't know how busy CartoDB is, so maybe they're really busy right now, and so it's going to take longer. Yeah.
But I'm curious what this data is. So I'm gonna get a mobile-friendly format. What might that be?
KML.
It is KML, yeah.
And it's a flavor of XML, of course.
I know.
I was going to say Geo Package, but then I know you were saving that for later. But
yeah, and Geo Package, there's not too many viewers yet.
No.
On it, so we're going to do KML. So again, I'm just on my mobile phone here, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to select the. There we go. I'm going to go in and I'm going to select the data again. file geodatabase, and I'm going to output it into that same directory because I want people to be able to access this as well. And what am I going to call it? Unity map.
Perfect.
.kmz.
Wow.
Okay.
And you
now I run it.
Wow.
And it's going off there, and it doesn't take too long, about 10 seconds
Yep.
to run this job.
Yep.
I could use data streaming,
Yep.
which would give me the file back immediately.
Yep.
Then I could work with it. But I want to be able to share it with other people.
Okay.
And so what I'll do is I'll go to Manage, Resources, and I put it there. Right?
You put it there. So you told the workspace to write it into your resources.
Yes.
So then you can access it anywhere, anytime.
Exactly. And so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do that. Someone else can get it now. So it could be someone else on a different, maybe on a plane.
Right.
Download it. It gets downloaded, and I'm going to open it up.
And it's just right there on your mobile phone.
So now I can see that data. And
so what app are you using on your mobile phone?
This is Google Earth here.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I zoom in, I'm getting off the train here, and then I'm going to go, and I'm going to have a Jap dog.
Oh, those Japa dogs are good.
Yeah, those Japanese.
They're almost worth going downtown just for the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you haven't had one, you haven't had West Coast experience. Really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's, and so now, what about that CaroDB job?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, let's go and see. I'm going to go to Manage, and then I'm going to go to Jobs.
And I bet it's still running.
That's what your bet is?
That's my bet.
I think it might have completed.
Okay.
We're going to see here. So completed jobs, the KML one completed.
Yeah.
There's one that did Geo Packages, some other stuff. But yeah, I don't see the CaroDB one yet.
And look at that. How did I know?
It's still running. I don't. It's like you rehearsed this.
It's like I've seen this before.
It's like we've done this, even recorded it previously.
Yes.
So it's still. So
running. How long does this take? It's variable, I guess.
At one time it took a minute. The next time it took 5 minutes.
Okay.
It just seems to vary.
Depending. I'm sure it's all about the load on their side.
Exactly. But it does finish, and so that's just showing you what you can do with mobile.
Okay.
And our new interface.
So we're going to look at this CaroDB thing later, are we?
We're going to look at it later.
Okay.
When it has the files up there. So now we're going to switch over, and you're going to take over? Are you, Don?
I'll take over. Yeah. And okay, so I'm going to talk about backup and restore. And so with FME 2015, we've done some work on that as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at our server here. Okay, so let me find where did I put that? Oh, here it is right here. And this is the server. So now if we go Manage Administrator, so who can do backup and restore? Just anybody, or?
It's only the super user.
So the super user.
Specific user.
Yeah, this is a pretty serious operation. You wouldn't want any user to be able to.
That's it. You're effectively changing the files on your server.
That's right.
So that's
right.
That's
so
big
yeah,
business.
and there's lots of proprietary information on there. There's workspaces. You just don't want anybody to be able to suck that down and then take it and replicate your server anywhere else. So
exactly.
But once you and when you would use this is if you have everything running on one server and you want to move it to another server. Could be an upgrade, maybe. You're coming from 2014 even.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. So to back it up is really straightforward.
You push that button.
Yeah, and these are great demos for me because it's hard for me for anything to go wrong.
You push the button and it just
absolutely.
Just
just click that button and that's it. So that's all there is to that, and it would save it someplace and bing bang bong, you're done. Okay. So now what if you want to actually restore? Well, you go to your new server, you have a file there. We won't wait for it, but you would simply click here. And then you would pick wherever file you wanted. So, actually it did work a lot faster than I thought. So it would be right there, for example.
Okay.
And then you would, we won't do that, but, I am doing that.
Well, it will do nothing actually.
That's right, because it's exactly the same one.
Clone.
Yeah, now there's this so that would merge them together.
Yeah, so, it won't overwrite.
That's right. But if I had another server, let's say I had two servers, I could merge the stuff together by not selecting this box. If I select that box, then what it is it's just going to overwrite everything. So in fact, it would be. We'll do that again. That was so much fun.
That was. It's fast.
It's really fast.
And really, this new option, and one scenario would be you have a test server where you're developing solutions.
That's right.
And then you have your production, and you want to push the changes and overwrite.
Yes.
Into
and
in
so
the
you can
production
just merge this,
Yeah.
overwrite the stuff that's specified
Yeah.
in the backup file,
Yeah.
or a whole new server, or whatever you want to do. So
Whatever.
that is
That's backup and restore.
And again,
the
of
new
course,
option.
it's mobile friendly. If for whatever reason you're on a train and you wanted to just kick off a backup,
You could.
good.
You could do anything you want.
Absolutely. Okay. So, and that is backup and restore.
So now you're going to talk about the engines.
So something else we've done with FME FME is Server 2015 is, if I go up here under Manage, we used to have this problem, okay, where what if I was running a workspace that used Python?
Yeah.
Or Java, or I had some custom coordinate systems. You actually physically had to log on to the server and start monkeying around with text files. Very risky. And of course, in the cloud, what would you have to do? You really couldn't do it.
You can't do it.
Yeah.
And even in some IT scenarios, they don't allow you access to the machine.
That's right.
So
That's
it's a pain. So what can we do for that?
Well, now, under Resources again, what we have is this new folder called Engine. And under that is where we can add coordinate systems format. So if you have a custom format, you could put it there. That would be server-wide, so this would be different from the ones you put in the repository. And the scoping is such that if there's one in the repository, it'll hit that one first, and then hit the global one. Same with transformers and web services. We would talk about at a later date, but that's future kind of stuff. And so if I click on plugins, you can see two different types there. There's Java and Python. So one of the things we added in 2015 was JDBC.
Right.
So you could drop the JDBC drivers in the Java directory. With Python, you drop in Python files or .pyc files. And you can see I've already dropped in Twilio and the 6Py, which is like a utility Python library, because my workspace
it requires it.
And so by putting them in there, and putting them in there is really, really simple. You would simply click upload, and then you can pick a folder. And I picked, I just picked those ones there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's all there is. That's all there is to it. And I just uploaded them, and now my workspace that uses Python just simply runs. So I can do that. I can go back here and go. I always click home when I'm going to run a workspace because.
Why not?
Yeah,
it's a convenient way to get.
Workspace, absolutely. Yeah. And DD15, and I have a Python Twilio demo, and job submitter, and I would just click Run Workspace, and it calls Python and sends a Twilio message on my phone here. And I'll turn on my camera so you can see it, just because, hey, that's kind of fun thing to do. Turning on your camera is always a good thing. So I'm going to click this guy.
And it says FME Server 2016 says, hello there.
Perfect. And you can see we've done this a few times.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We've got
so that's great. So that's that. So, and of course, if those libraries, should I run it again, taking out those libraries?
I'm not sure that you did.
You don't believe it, do you?
I don't think
you're one of these kind of guys who has to see it. I
got to see it to believe it.
Okay, so I'm going to remove them then.
Yeah.
Just because you're.
Yeah.
You just don't believe it. So I'm going to click on Twilio and I'm going to say delete.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to delete these guys too. And I'm going to say delete. And I am now going to do that again.
Run that workspace again?
I'm going to run that workspace
and so you're saying it'll fail because it doesn't have those files?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. And okay, we're going to run it right now.
Oh, it did fail.
It failed. And if I looked at the log, you would see it failed because it called. I was looking for these Twilio libraries right here.
There it is.
Yep. Yep.
So that proves it.
That proves it.
But now I got something for you.
Uh-oh.
If you go to the jobs, if you go up to jobs, not in here, but
manage jobs.
Yeah. Yep. There's a button there.
Uncompleted.
Completed.
Yeah.
See, there's a resubmit button.
Oh, I could resubmit this just to see if it's going to fail again.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'll click that again.
Yeah.
It's going to resubmit it.
Yeah.
And it failed again.
Yeah, and so you imagine you're working on the workspace,
Yeah.
and you just want to retest it. So just click that resubmit button.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's the resubmit thing.
Yeah.
And now you could do that from your phone very easily, right? Just
Yeah.
click resubmit a job, and away you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So something else we can do now is easily add FME engines from the web UI.
Yeah.
So I will do that. So
the engines are useful, so let's do that.
That's right. And this is particular again on cloud. When you have a machine, you're allowed to change the number of engines. Or if you purchase more engines on premise, you can easily control that. So it's under administration, engine management.
Yeah.
So that's kind of good. So we see we have 6 engines now. So I'm going to change that to 9. Okay. Nice prime number.
Yeah, I like
well,
it.
it's not a prime number, but anyway,
well,
I like it. 3
factor
times
of 3.
3. Yeah, it's a cute.
It's a square root.
Yeah,
square.
And so I'm just going to say OK. And now, I wait a couple seconds. Look at that. I now have 9 engines. So I'm going to leave it at 9 engines. And so that is the way that goes.
Pretty easy to do that. You used to have to edit configuration files, do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Something else we spent a lot of time on is fault tolerance. Sometimes on a distributed machine, organizations would shut down the core for a while, maybe machine maintenance and things like that. And now the engines, when the core goes down, they will just continue to try forever. Okay, they won't stop. And that just makes it easier for system maintenance, right? You shut down the machine, maybe for core, who knows what you're doing.
Enable Active Directory.
Yeah, things like that, and then you don't have to worry about visiting all those other machines. They'll just continue to try. So the other thing we've done is failover, and we've made that better and more powerful than before. So we have a little.
Next slide.
Okay,
show it.
and so so I'll show it in the next slide. Also, what we've done is we've made the system much more aggressive to cleaning things up. So if in the past you would find a lot of temporary files in where your engines are working, now engines clean those up every time they restart. And they restart in server when they're idle. They might be idle for a while, and then they'll say, well, since I'm idle, I'm going to spend half a second and just restart. And when they do that, it cleans everything up. And so you're going to find that the maintenance needed on FME server is much, much less.
And there's literally a rule in there now. If it gets to a certain disk size, they're going to start blowing away log files and things like that, because the system running is more important than the log files.
That's right. And we've also made, if we go to manage resources, and we can see the logs in there, and you'll see we've actually made them much more. Okay, I think I just lost my wireless. So back over to you.
All right. So I'm going to take back over control here and show my screen.
Yep. Good.
And
good.
Oh, well, you're in here. Maybe you'll take a quick look.
Or you can take a quick look. You just you have a server handy there?
I sure do.
Good.
Make myself the presenter.
Yep.
And I'll show my screen.
Yep.
And hopefully you can see my screen there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And let's jump in here and take a look at the logs in here. So if we go into, you want to go to resources?
That's right.
Resources.
And you'll see logs in there.
Yep.
And if you click on engine, you'll see how now there's current and old. So then and if you click on old, you're going to see how it breaks it down by day.
Yeah.
And so or every so many log files we create a new one just to make it really, really easy for you to manage and not have to worry when you're cleaning out your log directory. So that's a big deal as well. So you want to go to the next slide there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to show what we mean by the whole way we do the failover. So initially, many of our users now in systems that need to be up 24/7, what they have is they have more than one core. So here we call them active and passive. You could call them core 1, core 2. And then they have all the engines. The engines are always talking to one core to get all its jobs and that sort of thing. So if active core goes down, so what happens if active core goes down? So the engines automatically switch to the other core. So now they would be using that core just as they were using the first one. And when the new core comes back, they would continue to use the other core. So really, what was the active core is now the passive core.
Yeah, they switched.
If you want to switch them over, you would simply shut down that core, temporarily or reboot it, and the machine, all the engines would switch to the active core, and then you bring the passive core back up. Yep. Some organizations don't care which is the active core, others do.
Yes.
So there you go.
Now we're headed back to, we did all the engine stuff.
Yep.
And we're going to, so that's serious stuff, the engine stuff. Making
Yes,
sure that thing runs.
Absolutely.
I'm going to play around.
Okay. So you're going to go to the developer playground now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a help menu here.
Yep.
And I can go to developer information.
Yep.
And that will show you some demos you can access.
Yep.
It'll show you the REST API.
Yep.
And it'll show you something new.
Oh, I'm betting all those are going to the same spot almost.
They all
end up
go
right
here. Yeah. This is the developer playground, and we built this JavaScript library which wraps up the common REST functions, so you can just use JavaScript.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. And so we'll take a look at one of them here.
Sure.
One
and
sample.
These are okay, and these are
These are all online. So here's all the code.
Yep. So that's the JavaScript.
JavaScript, HTML. So I can come down, and this is a demo that allows me to pick an area of interest, and then I can download. So one thing about that I want to illustrate about this playground is I can actually modify.
And this is your own copy, so you don't have to worry about. Yep.
So I put in an alert statement. I push refresh
the output, and there you go. A little window pops up that says a little alert pops up.
Hi there. And then you hit OK. So you can actually change this, do whatever you want, and then save it.
Just save it and copy your source to somewhere else and use it.
It truly is a little playground.
That's awesome.
So
and there's also demos there, I guess, and a whole bunch of other things.
Lots of demos there.
Yeah.
Demos there, all kinds of stuff. So and now we're back looking at CartoDB. We're on the train now, and we're still looking through our mobile device, and now we can see, hey, the layers have been written into CartoDB.
And that took what, about 5 minutes?
It took about 5 minutes.
Okay, good.
So just enough time to have a beverage on the train.
Perfect. Okay. So what is this CrossOrigin resource sharing thing?
So if you want to have a web application, say on yourdata.com, that accesses the REST API of FME Server on a different domain.
Okay. So if I had a web server and I wanted to make a call to a different, so if we have FME Server there and somebody from another web server wants to call it, by default, for security reasons, the web would just say, you're not allowed to do that.
Not allowed to do that. But in FME Server, we ship a CORS filter, which can allow you to configure it so that certain
these are
IPs
trusted clients.
Trusted.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And that will allow you to make a happy web application.
That's right.
And we're going to look at we're going to look at CORS
right now.
And
so, how do you configure that? Are you going to show us that?
Absolutely. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So up in here under Manage. It's in Administrate, and we showed you things in here.
Yeah. It's not something really you need to be administrator to before you do this.
You don't do it that often.
That's right.
So we stuck it up in that menu.
Yeah.
Load template, allow specific hosts.
Yeah.
And then I can put in yourdata.com.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is hit save and apply, and now yourdata.com is allowed to talk to the REST API here.
On that particular machine.
Run jobs, grab parameters, do whatever.
Yeah. So that's really nice for our demos internally in the cloud, because we can have, we have different cloud machines doing different things, and if we want to call from one machine to another, we just work.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to do right here.
Okay.
Here's a web page. It's actually on S3. It's going to use a cloud machine.
Right, of course. So this whole thing is in S3, but of course in the back end to do the data validation, it's calling to another machine.
Yep.
An FME Server machine. Perfect.
And that's a CrossOrigin sharing.
Yes.
So imagine I get some data. I need to do validation. I get it in email form, like you get it through email. And then here's somebody built me a nice quick tool to validate that.
Okay.
So I'm going to just drag some data up there and see if it validates. Oh, and it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't pass.
That's too bad.
It is too bad. So we get an HTML file out, and we see there's an invalid attribute called diameter, some little maps, invalid geometry. So a bunch of stuff. So now we email back and tell the person, hey, can you please give me better data? And then get the new data back from them. Validate. Hey, it works.
Great.
So
and I guess I could find this from Playground. This is like probably one of the demos on Playground somewhere.
We haven't put it up there yet, but you will in the future.
Okay.
Absolutely. And let's keep going. So we showed you those are all kind of self-serve on-demand tools.
Yep.
What about this automation thing we were talking about before?
Yeah, and so FME Server, there's two patterns in FME Server. There's event-driven, which are like these automations, and then there's data flow or real-time data streams, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But the thing to remember with FME Server is all the automations follow exactly this pattern. So there's some event that triggers data arriving, a user on a website, that basically the result of that event is an FME Workspace is run. After the FME Workspace is run, the data is delivered somewhere. Could be to a database, could be via email, could be to an S3 bucket, could be to anything. But the thing, it's always the same thing. So when you're building one of these flows, you just have to answer the question, what's the triggering event, what workspace do I want to run, and where do I want to put the data? And so even the one you just showed follows this pattern, right?
Yeah.
You had the data, you dragged and dropped it into on that web canvas. That resulted in the workspace being run, and then the data delivered in this case was either the report or something that said, hey, the data's great.
Absolutely. In that case, the person was the lightning bolt because they did the action.
Absolutely. So.
But what if I want FME Server to read the email?
Yeah, and so that's another way that, so I imagine you're going to show this, but that's yet another way that we've worked with FME Server to make it really easy for you to have an incoming email as the trigger event. So now what you're showing here is using just good old Google Gmail as the trigger, and FME Server watches this email address, and when it sees something of interest, it basically runs a workspace.
Absolutely.
And in this case, it's going to email right back to you the results of that. And so we're also going to show something else that's new for FME 2015 on the engine side with this workflow, aren't we? So we'll go to the next slide there, and you can just really summarize what people are about to see.
Absolutely.
There you go. So the lightning bolt in this case is the email arriving. The workspace is validating the DWG, and the present, the data delivery, is email again coming back through SMTP. So
yeah, and
we talk about these terms: publisher, workspace, and things like that. So why is that? Well, so how are these things connected together, Aaron? Like, how does FME Server know that this email runs this workspace?
Well, it happens through these things called topics.
Okay.
And topics are really the thing that facilitate the movement of data and messages from publisher to workspace to subscriber.
So they're like connection points for data, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah. So the publisher plugs into the topic, and so does the workspace.
Yep.
And then with anything pushed to the first topic, the workspace sees it, grabs it, and then it pushes to a different topic, which the subscriber's waiting on to do the data. So really, they're like the connectors.
Yeah. It allows you to build a kind of stepwise workflow.
That's right.
Let's flip back and see. Oh, our data failed validation.
Oh,
seems to be a common theme.
Oh, I see. Instead of an HTML file, you got an Excel spreadsheet. Well, that's really handy.
It's a different take, really.
Yep. And wow, look at that. It's new for FME 2015 is the ability to embed raster images in Excel.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty exciting. So now the nice thing is everybody has Excel. So now you could grab that, ship it around the office. Everybody could open it up, take a look, see exactly where the problems are. They could add they could use column G there to talk about issues, tick things off as being done, not done.
Exactly.
I mean, you could do a whole bunch of really interesting things with this.
Yeah,
so this is really
and you get to see the map right
exactly.
there.
So that's really slick.
So let's send in some good data, and then we'll look at how this was created a little bit more.
Okay.
So I'm going to send in some more data, and the nice thing about IMAP, which is the protocol we're using, is that it searches an existing email box. So there's no needing to set up SMTP and try to poke a hole through the firewall.
Yeah.
It literally just works with IMAP, which is a very common protocol.
Right.
Okay, so let's take a look at how this was set up on the actual web user interface here. So I'm going to click Create Notification.
Yep.
It's going to take me right into the notifications area.
Yep.
And there's a publication, like you talked about, the lightning bolt, which, if I go in there, it pulls from IMAP. Yep. There's the protocol, and publishes to that topic.
Yep.
So that's the glue that glues them together.
That's awesome.
One nice thing about this release is you don't have to build a separate topic. You can just come in here and say, here is my topic, and if I click Add, now it's added that topic. It's not two steps. It's much more convenient.
Yeah.
And then you hit OK.
Because really, at the end of the day, you're focusing on just defining the lightning bolt, the workspace, and the data delivery. So this makes that much more seamless experience.
So this is the lightning bolt. Now for the workspace, let's go to that one, and I'll just make sure I get the right one. Must be this one here. Nope, I don't think I have it open.
Okay.
Or do I? I will open it up. That's FTP. I will find it and I will open it. And there it is. So we don't really have to worry too much about the workspace. We're going to talk about that in a bit. The one thing is, how do I glue this to the topic?
Right.
So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to publish it.
Right.
Publish that up to FME Server. Like so. Yeah, overwrite it. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. And the magic is right there.
There's the magic.
Yeah.
So what's that doing?
You're specifying the topic that this workspace is effectively listening on.
Yeah.
So when anything goes to that topic, this workspace is going to be run, and so we make it easy for at publish time.
Yeah, and then the results go out to this topic.
That's right. So that's right. So you're defining those two topics on either side of the workspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the final step is the present, isn't it?
Yes.
And let's bring that up right here. So if we go back to notifications, we can look at the subscriber, which is the present in the very end.
That's right. That's the data delivery piece. And so it's going to listen on that topic that you just referenced in that workspace, and it's going to grab it, and it's going to basically send it back out through
SMTP,
yep.
through email. Yep. And we've also added these little tool tips, which should help you understand what the heck is this thing do.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's an overview, and if we come back to
and the nice thing about the IMAP, it's worth saying, is that in the past we had a different incoming email approach that was on FME Server, but it forced you to open a hole in your firewall.
Yes.
Now with IMAP, you can use any existing email service, just connect to it and pull it down itself. So it's a much better solution.
Yeah, and so we've passed validation, and we're happy about that now.
Perfect.
So back to the slides here.
Yep.
And I'll brave opening them and going forward.
Yep.
So it's easier to use, and we talked a little bit about creating the topics.
Yeah.
Topic monitoring we've had for a while.
Yeah.
And what does that allow you to do?
It allows you to see what flows through those data connectors between publisher and workspace, or workspace and subscriber. Yeah. Because sometimes, like anything, you're building it and for some reason things aren't working, and so there you can see exactly what's being pushed across, which just helps you narrow in on the particular issue you're trying to fix. Or even during development, they're very useful. I usually cut and paste them into a file, and then I can test on the desktop much more easily.
Huge for authoring and developing these things.
Yeah.
And we put that right in the same page as notifications.
Yeah, which is
because it makes sense.
Absolutely.
If we come back here, one thing we've added now, so we have the ability to kind of debug and see what's going on. But we didn't have the ability to test very easily.
That's right.
So now we've added this new ability.
So again, you might be the lightning bolt might be something from a sensor that you don't have really a lot of control over.
Yeah.
So what you could do is you could use the monitor, grab one instance of that, and then you could use the test topic thing here to play it back whenever you're ready, and then downstream.
Build in pieces and components.
Absolutely.
So there's a nice test option there.
Yeah. And so that's really useful.
And interestingly, topics are HTTP endpoints.
Yes.
So really, they're webhooks as well.
That's right. So again, now you can use you can give that webhook to any system.
Dropbox, Gmail,
a device,
Drive,
a device, anything you want, and it would just send its data over
HTTP.
over that HTTP. Now, how about security? Are those have authentication?
Absolutely. Each topic has its own security, so you can allow or disallow.
Yeah. And what format do those have to be in? Do they have to be in XML?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They can be though.
Yes. It could be in JSON too, and we see JSON most of the time.
Mostly JSON.
But like all things at Safe, we don't force other folks to talk our language.
No.
So you can post to that whatever you want, and it'll just go straight into a workspace, and then the workspace can shred it apart.
Sometimes we get a pipe delimited format as well.
Yeah.
So anything you want, CSV.
Yep. No, that's great.
All right.
And again, it's the same pattern over and over again. So, event, lightning strike, workspace, data delivery. Okay.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. So what about FTP?
Yeah.
So a lot of people still use FTP.
Absolutely.
An older protocol for sure, but still very popular.
So in terms of FTP, we can I don't want to use email. I've got files that are too big.
Yeah.
And so here I've dropped a DWG file of building footprints. I want that to be converted to 3D and put into the outgoing FTP directory.
Yep.
And so I set up a schedule that does that.
Yep.
And we'll come in here and go to, I'm going to go home again and push the middle button. We haven't pushed that one yet.
Nope.
And it allows us to create a schedule right away, or if we have existing, we can click there.
Yeah.
Or we can also go here and get to existing.
Sure.
And here is that schedule.
Yep.
If we take a look at it, basically it runs it once a day.
Yep.
I want to kick that off immediately and run it so that it will run now. But imagine overnight.
Yeah.
It looks
every day it looks in this new directory, can grab the files, process them. When it's finished, it could delete them. You know, just so that people know, or move them to a new directory even. Yeah. Things like that.
And look at the pattern.
Yeah, so this is, you know, again, in this case, the Lightning Bolt is a scheduler. It's running a workspace, which is pulling data to and from FTP, and then again delivering it. So exactly the same pattern again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it really is all about this pattern.
So we're going to zoom in on that workspace now.
Yeah,
and talk about
because again, this is a pattern for how we make these Lightning Bolt things work. And so often around Safe, there's really cool workspaces that have been developed. So this transfer DWG to 3D was one that was made just as a standalone workspace. And I'm going to show one that Dimitri did. Again, he didn't write it for server. And so with this pattern, what we're able to do is take any workspace. You don't have to change it at all. Just view the published parameters as its interface, and then you build a little controller workspace around it that just calls that. And this is a really powerful pattern that we use a lot at Safe. And these controller workspaces are very small. You're going to see yours there. Yep. And they pretty much have the same thing. Build the published parameters for the child workspace, run it, specifying those parameters, and then you can get the output and do whatever you want.
Yeah, it really just uses existing, builds on top of existing.
And again, you're going to get these so that you can start leveraging that yourself.
Okay, so now we're back looking at the FTP site.
So we're back to CyberDuck.
We're back to CyberDuck.
Yeah,
it's working great.
Okay.
And so same with the FTP site.
Yep.
So the building footprints have been detected on a schedule.
Yep.
And they've been run through a workspace, and now we see the output here. Buildings which have been extruded in 4 different formats, including IFC.
Awesome. Which is again another new format for FME 2015. So that's fantastic. Yeah.
So that's showing how you can drop things into FTP and have them automatically converted.
Absolutely, and it shows FME writing 4 different output formats at once, which is cool too.
All kinds of cool 3D stuff. Yeah. So now, what if I don't use FTP and I don't use email? I'm mostly on premises.
Sure. So this could be on your own machine, or now very easy with UNC paths.
Yes, exactly. So what I've got here is I've got a directory on our file share here. Yep. And I can put a DWG file in there. Yep. And I'm going to get a Geo Package here.
Oh, a Geo Package. Yeah. The Geo Package comes back.
It makes a comeback.
That's right.
And so my source data is right here.
And Geo Package again is new for FME 2015. So you're going to show a good little demo here.
Into DWG, I'm going to paste that.
Yep.
And if we come back here,
by pasting that, it caused FME Server is watching that directory. So the event that triggered the workspace is merely the fact that that file appeared in the directory.
Yeah, and I should see a Geo Package come right up.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, is it there yet?
I don't know. Let me hit.
It is.
Well, it's a PDF.
Oh, it's an error PDF.
It says there are errors.
Man, we're not having good luck here. Look at that. So it
fits with the theme.
Yeah, that's right. There's bad data everywhere. Bad data connections. It's just bad. Okay.
So you got it shows you everything that's bad.
So it shows you all the errors of this particular one. And yet a different approach. So this one's in PDF. So we've seen HTML, we've seen Excel, and now we're seeing PDF.
Yeah.
Wow, we can really deliver data in a lot of ways.
We can do however you want, and being able to make nice PDFs and tables is something we've done in the last year. Okay. And you're going to get all these workspaces, as Don said.
That's right. That's right.
So how does this work? Well, there's a publisher.
Yep.
And a controller.
Yep.
And it writes to NFS.
That's right. And the data, in this case, the publisher was the fact that data shows up in that directory.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to put the good data, or put some data in there that's going to pass validation.
Okay. So you're going to copy it from there
into DWG. I'm going to
paste it in there.
And of course,
And
you
then,
could delete these files as
sure,
well,
absolutely.
off FTP, off wherever.
But in this case, it knows, it doesn't worry about the bad. It only gets a new signal on the, it's watching for creation of new files.
And we're going to show that in a second.
Okay, and there, wow, that was fast. So there's your Geo Package.
There's the Geo Package. Put it on your mobile phone or do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we talked about that, but there's a new feature in in Workbench for this release.
Yep.
And it's on the job submitter, and it's the ability to specify that the workspace should put the files wherever you indicate.
That's right.
So when I did the email demo before,
yeah.
I wanted them to go to a temporary location and just manage it all within that workflow.
Yep. Yep.
Here I want them to persist. I want that output to persist, and so there's a new option there. You'll see in that transformer. A lot of people asked for that one. So now we're going to flip from network to the cloud.
Yeah. So I'll be made the presenter, and hopefully my network connections have been solved. So I'll share my screen here. Okay.
You got that now?
Am I the presenter? Let's have a look. Screen sharing. Who's the presenter? You're the presenter, so you can make me the presenter.
I don't see you in the list.
Oh well, maybe I'm not even there anymore. Oh, I'll make myself the presenter. I found me. Okay, there we go. So hopefully, yes, I've been made to show my screen. Now we'll go to PowerPoint, and hopefully you see from network to cloud there. You do right there. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so in this one, another thing we've added in FME Server 2015 is now we've added the ability to use S3. So what I'm going to do is, in this one, is I'm going to drag and drop files, put them in S3. That's going to be the lightning, the event that's going to trigger the workflow. What I did is I got a nice little workspace from Dimitri that works with LiDAR data, and I'm going to deliver that again to S3 and also to somewhere else. There's a surprise. There's a present, so I'm going to give you a present because I know you wanted this.
I wanted this thing.
So let's look at the workspaces here. So the first one, okay, this is the one that's going to load, so I'm going to run this one. All this does is load files from my machine up to
so someone
S3.
could drag and drop them.
Yeah, they could drag and drop them, but I use FME for everything, so I'm running that.
There you go.
So that'll take a minute. So if I look on Firefox here, you can see I have, this is where the source data is going to go. This is where the results are going to go, and that other tab is a surprise, which we'll get to in a few minutes. We might even have to wait a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so where am I going here? Okay, so yeah, so the workspace by Dimitri is a nice little simple one. You'll be able to tell that he did it and not me, and because I have a 10 transformer rule. So this does a lot of different things. Looks at LiDAR from different angles, calculates some statistics. So that's just one part of it. So you can see I'm only allowed to use 10 transformers. So my workspace is this one called his.
So we kind of separate the experts who know that data very well from the people that know how to automate.
That's right. And this is my workspace that actually is the controller. So his is the one in the middle here. That's the work he did. So he did all the heavy lifting. I just did a little bit. I know they're going to appear in S3. S3 is going to run this workspace and tell it about the file. So I built the URL. FME can actually, I just give the workspace the HTTPS location. And it just happens that FME engine can just, if it's given an HTTP location, it just works. It can read so he didn't even author it with knowing about HTTP. He was expecting a .las file, but hey, it just works. And then when it's all done, I move the file. In my case, I said temporary. If I go through here, you'll see that I said temporary. So, you know, which is the other one, because FME Server is going to tell me where it put it. I'm going to push it to S3, and then I also push it to somewhere else special.
And it will be automatically deleted later on.
And it'll be automatic.
You don't have to worry about it.
I won't have to worry about it.
Nice thing about that temporary option.
That's right. So, so that's the one there. So let's have a look and see if anything's happened yet. So we're going to go to Firefox.
See if we got our files in S3.
Okay, any files there yet? Okay, we're going to go to the source, which is here, and we'll see. And, you know, not yet. Okay, well, that's kind of fun. Okay, so we'll come back to that one. It's still running here. It looks like things have gone wrong, but don't worry. The FME recoups and tries again. So you can tell we have a poor data connection here
Yeah.
again. So anyway, so we'll come back to that one. So we'll show that one shortly, and you'll see the surprise location as well.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so other things we've done, of course, is that's all about the event. So what about, you know, just plain old real time? Like you got sensors that are just pounding data through. That's another great use, and we're seeing more and more of customers with large sensor networks who are starting to send us lots of data.
Big streams of data.
Big streams of data. And so what we've done in this release is we've really improved one of those data streams. One of the data streams we support is Java messaging service, so it's we support other ones, but this is a very popular one.
Yeah.
And so in the previous release, we were only able to support one stream, or one queue within JMS, which meant one workspace per high performance queue. And now we can support multiple queues, and we are able to now receive over 10,000 messages. It's actually 11,000, but 10,000 sounds better.
Yeah.
10,000 messages per second per engine.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? So here's a nice graphic showing, you know, the JMS queue and its data stream. Data can come from FME, of course.
Or other systems.
Or other systems that can pump data into
a JMS queue. And then that workspace pulls that data out of that queue, doesn't it?
Yeah, and does whatever you want it to do.
Now, but what if the processing in that workspace can't keep up with the number of messages coming in?
Very simple. You just run a whole bunch of more FME engines. And the nice thing about JMS is, you know, a message is only going to go to one engine.
Yeah.
They all do their thing in parallel, and now you have a really nice scalable
What's
solution.
This run till cancel thing here?
Yeah, that's a new feature as well. And what that means is when you specify one of these workspaces as run till cancel, if that workspace ends for any reason, it'll be restarted.
It's a run forever.
So it's like a run forever. Even if the server's rebooted or the engine machine is restarted, that engine will automatically come up.
So the workspace will never end.
It never ends. And in fact, we've used it where we know the workspace is going to end, does something, and then it's immediately restarted. And so you can use it in very interesting.
It's a clever new feature.
Ways. It really is, and very, very useful. So that's something we're going to show that in a minute. Our WebSockets, of course, are also more secure. So what that means is what?
It means that we are supporting WSS, which is the secure version of WebSockets.
That's right.
Which is important. Browsers support it, and we need to be secure as well.
That's right. So now we're going to go and have a look at...
hit the next slide.
Oh, next slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll give us a primer.
Here's all good. So here's what we're going to do now. We have a quick little demo just to show the performance.
Yeah.
So we have an FME, in this case, writing to a JMS queue, whole bunch of messages from 4 different queues.
Yep.
And we show multiple FME engines there, but in fact we're only using one. And what we're doing is we are going to
shoot that out to WebSockets.
Shoot that out to a WebSocket and then view it on a browser. So if I go here, okay, it must be on Firefox here. Okay, let's have a look there. Maybe Chrome. Window. Okay, I guess in all the excitement.
Yeah.
But that's okay because we can go here. And it's over here, and it's a JMS WebSocket.
Yeah.
I simply click this one. Oh yeah, this is the one that never used to have access to. So this is where we're going to see all the messages.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to put them as text, just so we can show the speed. If we try to start drawing these things, it's not actually going to be able to keep up. So there we go.
So here's the job that's sending in.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm going to set this to 50,000 just for fun.
Let's send 50,000 messages.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to say run that.
Mm-hmm.
And now if I go over here, you can see these messages coming through fast and furious. And it's not 10,000 a second, but that's a limitation of the browser. The browser just cannot take that many. So you sort of see the vast performance we're getting out of this.
The bottleneck is generally not going to be FME in that regard.
That's right. That's right. So back to our PowerPoint here, and so we have a Trello board, and Stephanie's going to chat that out to you. And the idea here is for you to give us feedback on things you would like us to do for FME 2016.
We've put a bunch of things in there that We've got collected from you some of our ideas,
Yep.
and we want you to. You can vote on these cards.
Yep.
You can also comment, and there's some other cards there where you can put in your own ideas.
That's right. That's right. So to use this, there's instructions even how to do that.
Oh wow.
Basically, anybody, if you have a Gmail account, you can simply log right onto Trello and give us your votes for the different things. So we really encourage you to do that. So please do that.
And I see people doing that already. That's
wow,
great.
that's great. So that's that. So we're almost on time despite everything. So let's go have a look back here.
Yeah.
I think it's here. No, it's over here. And see how we're doing. So I'll refresh this. And there we go. The last files are there. So those are the ones that were dragged in. And if I go over here, now I should be able to see the results in the PDF. Look at that. And if I clicked on one, I would be able to view it. But the surprise is we also wrote this to SharePoint. So I have this LiDAR job history. And look at that. And if I wanted to view these, so now you can imagine this is a job history of all the files that have been processed. I want to report or look at a report on any one. I can just say, I'm going to click here. And there it is. I'm going to download it. Download that, and I'm going to open it in Acrobat Adobe Reader because it looks better than here we go. And so this is the report on it. And if I click here, you're going to see the power of Dimitri's workspace. So you get a top-down view, and then you get a view from that LiDAR file from two different oblique angles, and you also get a color density distribution. So now you go to your whenever you're at your anyway, yeah, you got the idea.
Yeah, so just to recap, somebody dropped some S3, some LiDAR in S3.
Yeah.
FME's watching that with the new subscriber or watcher, S3 watcher.
That's right.
And then it processes, makes PDFs, uploads them.
That's right. And it writes it to SharePoint, so you have your links, so you can just directly work with those LiDAR files. So this is again showing some new stuff with FME 2015. 2015. Yeah. Yep. So with that, I think we're in pretty good shape here. It's 8:59 by my clock. And the big thing is don't forget about the world tour. Come see us. We're going to over 60 plus cities.
Yeah, and you can bring that up and we can see a little map.
Okay, so I simply go here and I say FMEsafe.com/world tour, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't. Okay, and
there's so many locations. I thought a map had chicken pox.
That's right. That's right. And so there you go. Whoop.
Australasia, we're going.
China, South Korea, Middle East, lots of spots in Europe, lots of spots in North America, Brazil. Australia, Brazil, Malaysia, and so please join us. Please join us for that.
It's free. You learn about FME and you get some food too.
That's right.
And prizes.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we feed you well. So, yeah. So that's this is obviously only the beginning. This is the end of this webinar. All the workspaces and everything are available. Will be made available to you to try it yourself. And so with that, I think we're pretty good. So so we'll go through some questions now. But it is officially 9 o'clock.
Thanks for coming and watching.
Yeah, and
we'll do QA here now.
Sticking with us on the all the technical issues that we had. They began this morning when we had to switch rooms because but anyway, there we go.
So maybe we'll get. Do we have some questions in the back possibly?
Okay, great. So so there's one question out there about database in FME 2015 database named connections were added. And right now, server for FME 2015.0 did not support those. That's really loud now. But it's coming. It's very, very close. I saw a demo of it yesterday, so you can expect to see that in 2015.1 or .2. So we're very, very close on that.
It's an important thing.
It really is, and so you'll be able to define them on the in the server as well as move them from desktop, and that'll
be
really
seamless.
And then you won't have any passwords or anything to worry about. And that's one of the things we do with these workspaces is we got to go through them now and remove all our authentication information. But in the future, we'd be able to give them to you. Then you just enter your own.
Yeah, One question about what does the email look like when you trigger a workspace? And we actually have an email tutorial that covers all that sort of thing. It's on FMEpedia. Look for email tutorial, and it will get you going with email better than I could tell you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So good.
Let's see. We can't hear anyone, so. Which PDF writer do you use? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We don't use the Terrago one, if that's the question.
That's right.
We use just in a straightforward Adobe. So we create Adobe compatible files.
Okay.
So the PDF side of things, we would basically there's a 3D PDF writer and a 2D one. That was done with the 2D PDF writer, and we actually are underway with plan to unify those two things into just one Uber PDF writer.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting.
Hey, we hear you now. That's great.
Yes, you should be able to even see me if you are lucky enough.
Oh, we can see Vet Endale
Oh, we
now.
can see the Vet Endale. Awesome.
Okay.
So how about you, Devet? Any questions that really stood out for you?
Well, we've actually got explicit request for a live answer to this. We got someone asking here about watching changes to an FTP folder. So kind of a workflow surrounding having people upload files to an FTP location and then having FME Server watch that.
Yeah, that's actually in development right now.
I'm going to show both of us.
Yeah, I can turn on mine too. So that's in development right now. So you should see that very shortly. So in .1 or .2. So.
Yeah, for now we use in the demo we use the new transformer called the FTP caller, which allows you to go out and get the list of files and that sort of thing. But yeah, in .1 or .2, it'll watch for you, which is a better solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, this is just about like a Brady Bunch episode here with
It is, yeah.
So someone else mentions that they're brand new to FME and they want to get on the FME train. They're using that analogy and they want to know how is the best way to get on the FME train. And I think there's a variety of resources around, but Stephanie maybe can chat out. I think the intro webinar that happen every Thursday, Don?
It does, and there's also a recorded version. So if you don't want to wait, so it's the exact same thing you'd see on Thursday, but it's recorded. It's about an hour long, and so that's a good way. Of course, you can download FME and try it. We have evaluation licenses. Get started. Rely on us and support to help you. It's always good to talk to us to just letting us know what in particular you would like to do, and then we can help you in the right location. If you go to safe.com/getting started, you will find a bunch of things there. So it's getting started. So so getting -started is the URL there.
Yeah.
And then
what I'll just say is that once people get on that FME train, it's a pretty fun time on the FME train, and basically nobody ever leaves.
That's right.
It's really a one big long party.
It is. It's really a high-speed train. It's really
it's a bullet train.
Yeah, well, what's Elon Musk making there, Dale? What does he want to make?
It's a hyperloop.
It's a hyperloop, really.
It's an FME hyperloop. It just keeps going round and round.
Right. So look at all the fun Aaron and I have had. One surprise app. We got it here at 7 this morning, and took us basically an hour to find out getting in. It was even close to working. Yeah. So that was quite a hyperloop.
The fun of construction.
Yes, all the construction gets in the way.
I even got my files to show up on FTP. And I wanted to show it, but I also wrote an IFC file, which is a new thing, a big thing for the BIM crowds.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I wrote that out.
Okay, so your CyberDuck works.
It finally did actually.
Yeah. There you go.
So somebody else asks, is it a good plan to start with FME Cloud, even if you think you want to use FME Server eventually? And just for folks that don't know, FME Cloud is FME Server that's hosted on Amazon, and you pay by the hour. But hey, you can start for free because you get. How much credit do you get, guys?
$250, which can actually, you start with the starter. That can take you a long way.
Oh, a starter a long way. Yeah.
And we even have folks who. So the answer to your question is yes, absolutely. But we even have existing clients who already have FME Server and they want to, just prototype something new. It's a great location, great way to do that. It's outside it's not within your IT infrastructure, so you're not exposing anything. So I know IT departments are are kind of uptight about security, which we witnessed this morning.
I guess the auxiliary control room at SAFE has been.
That's right. It's technically outside the firewall. So
I guess, I guess they've seen enough Star Trek episodes. You know what happens when bad guys take control from the auxiliary control room.
Well, you know what I said, Aaron. That serves us right for not having everything in the cloud. Then we would have been good to go. But anyway.
So I know, Devet, you do most of your work on FME Cloud, don't you? At least I catch you on it all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever I need some sort of server to test something, just spin it up, because we've got multiple versions up there too. I can spin up a 2015 now. Got various service packs of 2014. So lots of it.
The latest betas are up there too for folks if you want to try the latest beta. Yeah.
I think 2015 was available on FME Cloud before you could even download it.
It was actually.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And myself, I have not fired up FME on Windows for probably a month and a half. I strictly use the FME authoring environment on the Mac, and I use FME Cloud as my server, and it works great. So. Hey,
someone's asking what Linux OS, if somebody wants to do an on-premises FME server and they have an empty bare box, but they want to go Linux, does anybody in this group know what Linux we'd recommend they fire up?
Ubuntu. Ubuntu's the best one for sure.
Yeah.
So, but in the future, we are working also with Docker. So if anybody out there is familiar with Docker technology, so once we start deploying the Linux in Docker, and we have a meeting about that, I think today to kick that off. Then of course any machine that can that can run Docker, you'd be able to run on. So it's a great way to go.
And I'll add that we have on our tech specs page, which I just chatted out, we have 5 supported distributions: CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Red Hat, and Ubuntu. And I'm a Ubuntu fan as well.
Yeah. And the cloud is Ubuntu, so on Amazon. So yeah.
Good question.
So
somebody else, the file geodatabase, I think, will be the end of us. Somebody noticed that when you have a directory watch on a file geodatabase, you get a notification for all the little pieces that get copied up there.
Of course you would. Yeah. So we'll have to take a look.
So anyway.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's
because of course
tricky.
It's just a generic tool, right, that watches files.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, of course, one fast workaround is just zip that baby up and put it up there, and the FME is happy to work with it in the zip file.
You can
That's
it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a trick I've used in the past is when you see the directory come in, you can wait a period of time, and then on a schedule check it again. But you almost have to schedule file geodatabases, so when people aren't working, they're there.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Someone else mentioned actually that Red Hat Enterprise is the U.S. government official one. So.
And that was on the list, so that's a good thing. Yeah.
Check that off the list. Yeah, we got it.
Good. So anything or
any other questions coming in?
From your side, Devet, and all's well?
I think so. Yeah. No, not seeing too much more. A few more questions that we'll follow up on, and of course, if anything further comes up, please send in a support ticket, support@safe.com, and we can also follow up on any of the questions that you ask in this webinar.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I see that there's already people voting on the boards, so that's exciting. I took the liberty of cross-linking the desktop one with the server one, so that people can flip between them.
Awesome! Great.
Yeah. So they're already voting, so that's good. Vote early and vote often.
That's right. So so thanks to everybody. Thanks you guys for supporting us through this very interesting technical webinar. And thanks, Aaron. It's always fun.
Totally fun, Don. I appreciate working with you.
Absolutely, I enjoy it as well. And thanks to everybody who showed up. And hope you enjoyed watching us sweat a little bit as we fought various challenges. So anyway, the good thing was no failure was FME Server.
That's true.
FME Server was the only piece of software that we could rely on in this demo.
Constant, yeah.
It was the constant. So there you go. And it was in the cloud. So if anybody thinks the cloud is not stable or ready for real time, heck, Aaron, it's even ready for us.
I got to get in that room and get my phone back from you guys so you don't start.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go get a smoothie now, and I think I might ask him to put a little bit of extra boost in it.
I'm going to lay down and pass out now.
Okay.
All right.
So thanks so
Thanks a
much,
lot,
everybody. Okay.
Bye-bye.